Welcome again to Legal Talk here on eRadio with myself, Hahn, and Hahn attorneys. And from the firm, joining us today is Merilynn du Plessis. Merilynn, nice to have you back. How's it going?
Hi, Hahn. It's going very well. Weather-wise, everything is upside down, but going very wise.
Yeah,
very nice, very smooth, and busy.
Good. Busy is good, and the weather's still making up its mind, but soon it will realize that it's supposed to be summer, so we'll get there eventually. So, Merilynn, today we're talking about the power of attorney. We've heard that term a few times, people saying, I'm gonna get power of attorney or whatever they say that, and we don't know what it means. So will you today in Legal Talk briefly explain to us what it means?
The concept power of attorney is very misleading in that you would think that it is an attorney or you have the powers of attorney, which it is not actually. A power of attorney is actually just very simple. I mean, we all have rights, and all our rights are personal, so we exercise our own rights. And a power of attorney, all it really merely does is it acts as an appointment of somebody to represent somebody else. So in law, we call it the law of agency, where the principal, let's say the person, cannot perform an act or cannot do something for themselves, and therefore they need to appoint another person to do something for them. Usually it will be a juristic act, which means anything where a legal right or an obligation is present, which is personal. It's merely a document of representation. So a power of attorney is often used as representation, and then in other instances, it would be where legal obligations exist. For example, we hear of curators, we hear of, we hear of all these legal talks about powers of attorneys, companies, etc. And that in those instances, it would only be a document representing how far another person can represent the person who's called the principal. So all it is just a form of representation. Usually you'd have different types of power of attorneys. Generally you'd have a general power of attorney and then a special power of attorney. A general power of attorney would be where somebody wants somebody else to represent them. They want that person to kind of manage all their affairs. It's general, whereas a specific power of attorney is in respect of a very specified act. For instance, if you take a look at the PIA Act, in order for you to access request from somebody else and you're doing it on behalf of another person, you would need a special power of attorney when that person specifically authorizes the other person to act on its behalf. So a power of attorney, depending on the situation, there is no formalities. There will only be formalities when an act or legislation requires so. Usually these power of attorneys will only be valid until the person has revoked it or that person has passed away. And very important to note, the person who is acting as the representative must have a contractual capacity, meaning you must be over the age of 18 years old, not be insolvent, etc. If a power of attorney doesn't need to be done through attorneys.
Oh, okay.
Let's say, for instance, you want to go to Home Affairs and you want your license collected. However, they won't give it to somebody else except yourself. And in these instances, a power of attorney can be drafted by the person who's collecting it that says, I represent Hahn with ID number so-and-so, and I have been authorized to collect this ID. Your signature, and that's it. So legal power of attorneys where you would approach your attorney would only be when act compels same. In all other instances, it doesn't actually have to even be drafted by an attorney.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. I must admit, yes. I didn't know all that. I love the home affairs example that you just gave there. I think that's a brilliant one. So that is power of attorney. That's what we've been wondering all about all along, and now the mystery is solved. Thanks to you.
Yes. I'm very glad. But however, there are specific, obviously, power of attorneys. And for instance, companies and, let's say, for instance, it's also got to do with authority. So say you're a company and you need to institute an action and you're a board of directors. A power of attorney will actually represent somebody to be able to sign documents on their behalf. Those types of attorneys, I would say, consider legal advice.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. Absolutely. Merilynn, thank you so much. That's a great explainer. Thank you for clearing it up for us.
It was great chatting to you again.
Absolutely. Same here, Merilynn. And until next time.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Are you or your business in trouble and struggling to find a solution? Call Hahn & Hahn Attorneys as we assist clients in finding solutions. We specialize in consumer and food law, commercial and construction law, forensic investigations and administrative law. Visit hahnlaw.co.za. That's HAHN. We assist clients nationwide. Hahn & Hahn Attorneys, because we care. Don't miss Legal Talk with Hahn & Hahn Attorneys, Wednesday mornings at 10 on eRadio.